You ever meet someone whose life feels more like a movie than the movies they actually star in? Yeah. That's Johnny Depp. It's crazy when you think about how it all started for him. He never really chased fame the way most actors do. In fact, acting wasn't even his first dream. Music was. All he wanted was to play guitar and tour with his band. That was the plan. That was the vision. And honestly, if life hadn't stepped in and nudged him down a completely different road, we probably never would have seen him on screen at all. But life has this funny way of taking people off one path and dropping them on another. Especially people who were meant for something bigger. Something unpredictable. That's Johnny. A guy who kept walking into rooms, hearing no, but leaving with something better than yes. And that's not luck. That's instinct. That's knowing who you are before the world tells you who to be. The first real yes he got in acting came from none other than Nicolas Cage, who told him, "Hey, you've got the look. You should try acting." And just like that, a musician who was barely paying rent was suddenly landing his first big gig. And what was that gig? A tiny part in a little horror film called A Nightmare on Elm Street. You know, the one with Freddy Krueger. Johnny didn't have a ton of screen time, but man, he made an impact. That death scene, you know, the one, with the bed and the geyser of blood, that was iconic. People remembered him. Directors noticed. The audience took a mental note. That could have been it. Just another guy with good looks and a memorable moment. But Johnny didn't want to be just another anything. He wanted more. Not in terms of fame or money, more in terms of meaning. He wanted roles that felt alive, that challenged him, that let him disappear into someone else completely. And that's when 21 Jump Street came into the picture. Now look, for most people, getting cast in a hit TV series as the lead is the dream. It's stability. It's fan mail. It's a paycheck that actually clears every week. And Johnny got all of that. He became a teen idol almost overnight. Suddenly, his face was on magazine covers. Teen girls screamed when he walked down the street. Hollywood was watching. But here's the wild part. He hated it. He felt boxed in. Typecast. Manufactured. Like a product instead of a person. So, while the world was falling in love with Officer Tom Hansen, Johnny was slowly backing away. Not physically, not yet, but mentally, emotionally, artistically. He didn't want to be that guy forever. So he walked. And when I say walked, I mean he turned his back on what most people would have clung to. He left 21 Jump Street right when it was peaking. Not because he had something better lined up. Not because he was angry or bitter. But because he believed in something bigger than comfort. He believed in creative freedom. And that belief shaped everything that came next. The next few years were a masterclass in career reinvention. Johnny started picking roles that made people scratch their heads. Characters that were broken. Flawed. Odd. Vulnerable. And his first major swing. Edwardscissorhands. Now think about that for a second. You just left a role that made you a heartthrob, and your next character is a pale, silent guy with scissors for hands. That's not exactly a safe bet. But that's the thing, Johnny wasn't looking for safe. He was looking for something real. Something that said something. And Edwardscissorhands was exactly that. It wasn't just a movie. It was an experience. It was a fairy tale soaked in sadness, wrapped in beauty, layered with emotion. And Johnny, he didn't just act. He transformed. He gave us a character that couldn't speak much but said everything through his eyes. Through the way he moved. Through the pain and the innocence he carried in every single scene. Audiences connected to Edward. Not because he was strong or heroic. But because he was misunderstood. And in a weird way, that role became a mirror. People saw themselves in Edward. And because of that, they saw something new in Johnny Depp. They realized, wait, this guy's not just a pretty face. He's an artist. That film changed the entire tone of his career. It opened the door to weirder scripts, deeper stories, more complex characters. And Johnny walked through that door every single time. He didn't shy away from the unusual, he chased it. Over the years, he kept stacking up roles that other actors wouldn't touch. He wasn't afraid of being too strange, too risky, too out there. And that's what made him stand out. It's why directors like Tim Burton kept calling him. They knew Johnny wasn't just going to act, he was going to become. And then, came the pirate. Ah yes. Captain Jack Sparrow. Let's pause for a second and really think about this one. The year is 2003. Disney decides to make a movie based on a theme park ride. Sounds kind of fun, but also kind of ridiculous, right? No one expects much. At best, it'll be a decent summer flick. At worst, it'll be a weird footnote in movie history. Then Johnny Depp shows up. And everything changes. He turns Jack Sparrow into something no one saw coming. Not the producers. Not the fans. Not even the other actors. He adds this strange swagger, this unpredictable rhythm. The eyeliner. The mumbling. The gestures. The walk. He modeled Jack after rock stars and cartoon characters. Keith Richards meets Pepe Le Pew. People were confused. Executives were sweating. Is this even going to make sense? Will kids understand him? Is he drunk? But Johnny didn't flinch. He leaned all the way in. He knew what he was doing. And the audience? They loved it. They adored it. Captain Jack wasn't just the heart of the film, he was the film. The movie exploded. Sequel after sequel followed. And just like that, Johnny wasn't just the quirky indie guy anymore. He was a global box office titan. And it all happened because he trusted his gut when everyone else doubted him. That's the kind of artist he is. Not just reactive, but intuitive. He listens to the character. To the story. To his instincts. And he lets that guide him, even when the whole world is shouting, "Don't do it." Now, the final part of this story isn't from a movie. It's from real life. And honestly, it's the part that probably hurt the most. In recent years, Johnny went through something no one should have to endure in public. He faced serious accusations. He lost roles. Lost endorsements. Lost relationships. People picked sides. Headlines went wild. Social media exploded. And for a long time, he stayed silent. No dramatic interviews. No press tours. Just silence. And while the world debated his story, he held on to his own truth. Eventually, he decided to speak out. To go to court. To stand in front of cameras and tell his side. That decision. Incredibly risky. Because no matter how strong your case is, the court of public opinion doesn't wait for evidence. But Johnny did it anyway. He wasn't trying to play the victim. He wasn't trying to look perfect. He just wanted to be heard. And through all of that, all the chaos, the noise, the pain, he kept going. He went on tour with his band. He painted. He showed up. He laughed. He didn't disappear. He stayed present. Because when you've built your life on doing the brave thing, the hard thing, the honest thing, you don't run from storms. You face them. And maybe that's the biggest career move of all. The courage to show the world who you are, even when it's easier to disappear. So yeah. Johnny Depp made some bold choices. He turned down easy fame. He embraced weird characters. He created a pirate that changed cinema forever. And he stood tall when it felt like the world wanted him to fall. Not because he was trying to be a hero, but because he was trying to be himself. And that's what makes him a cultural icon. So if there's anything to take away from Johnny's story, it's this. You don't need to fit the mold to succeed. You don't need to play it safe. You don't need to do what everyone else expects. Sometimes, the weirdest ideas become your greatest legacy. Sometimes, the most painful moments bring out your deepest strength. And sometimes, just being you, unapologetically, imperfectly, fully, is the boldest move you'll ever make. So, what's your favorite Johnny Depp moment? Was it the first time you saw Captain Jack swagger across the deck? Was it Edward standing in the snow, carving angels into ice? Was it a small quiet interview where he said something that just stuck with you? Drop it in the comments. Share your moment. Your memory. Your favorite scene. Let's celebrate the moments that made us feel something. And if this story moved you, if it made you smile or think or maybe just reminded you that it's okay to be different, give it a like. It helps more than you know. We've got more coming. More stories. More legends. More behind-the-scenes truths you never knew. So hit subscribe. Stick around. Because sometimes the best stories are the ones you never saw coming. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.